Gary, would you like to join me?
Sure will.
Please. Mr. Sides, I believe, is your teacher at Sun Valley. Is that correct? Yes, sir. That's great. He teach you everything you know, did he?
And it would be in trouble if I was his teacher.
Right. You hold it. I'll take you back.
I'm not retired, but work.
Gary, you want to recognize, I believe, the principal here for Sun Valley, is that correct?
Well, we've got Dr. Bradley here, our assistant principal. We've got one of our board members here, Gary Sides. And we've also got another school board member here, Ms. Sharon Harrell. Always glad to go with us. And we've got some of TJ's family here too, so.
Proclamation recognizing P.J. Lothorpe. Whereas P.J. Lothorpe is a proud senior at Sun Valley High School and is the son of Kevin Lothorpe and Tiny Chambers and the brother of Jamel Lothorpe. Whereas P.J. Lothorpe has represented Sun Valley High School with honor and distinction throughout his academic and athletic career. Whereas P.J. Lothorpe has set a state record of 10.35 seconds in a 100-meter dash, as well as set a state record of 6.35 seconds in a 55-meter dash. Whereas Mr. Lothorpe won the state track and field championship in the 100-meter dash, 200-meter dash, and indoor 55-meter dash, as well as state championship in the 4x100 relay and 4x200 relay. Whereas Mr. P.J. Lothorpe was voted most honorable player for the state of North Carolina. Now therefore, I, Bobby Kilgore, by the virtue of authority vested in me as the mayor of the city of Monroe, do here proclaim P.J. Lothorpe a vital part of the community and encourage all citizens to express appreciation and support for its accomplishment. P.J., let me congratulate you and thank you for the time This is one gentleman here you don't want to run from. we might get, that means you can Gary go out and race. I got to pick at you a little bit. Congratulations. Thank you for all you do. You really set a track record as we can see, especially you set your track record at Sun Valley. So we're glad to have you down here tonight. It's great to have you. Great to have you folks with us, each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Gary.
Hey, Bobby, not only did he win the most valuable player in 4 goals, he was voted best sport. And that also speaks highly of the young man.
Absolutely. Congratulations. You know, it's great when we can come together and recognize our young people like this that do so well, that stand out in school, in many things, many sports, many areas. It's great that we have young folks that do that.
Bobby, he also will be attending the Norrine University on a full scholarship.
Hey, that's great. That is really good. Also tonight, I'd like to recognize, we've got two school board members here with us, Mr. Gary Sides and Ms. Harrell. We're certainly glad to have you with us tonight, and always welcome to come back anytime.
Thank y'all for what y'all do for our schools.
Absolutely. Also like to recognize Troop 171. We have some scouts in here. We have 5 scouts and 3 leaders in here. You scouts want to stand up? Again, we like to recognize our young folks as when they participate in scouts, schools, or whatever they may do. We need to encourage them, and we want to encourage you. Thank you, leaders, for what y'all do for these young folks. We do appreciate that. We'll go to the consent agenda at this time.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. The City Council uses the consent agenda to consider items that are non-controversial and routine. The consent agenda is acted upon by one motion and the vote of council. Items may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda at the request of a council member or citizen with the consent of council. The consent agenda contains the following items. Item 2 is the approval, acceptance of minutes and reports, and there are 5 sets of minutes lettered A through E. Item 2F concerns disbursements of fiscal year 2015 through 2016 City Council discretionary funds. Council members are provided $3,000 each on an annual basis for disbursement at their discretion towards items that meet the public purpose definition of permitted items in municipalities authorized in form. There were 2 sets of disbursement for this period. The first set involved Mayor Kilgore had 2 disbursements, one for $20 to the Union County Chamber of Commerce for Safety Awards luncheon and $25 for Colors of God Rainbow Tea. The second set involved Councilmember Jordan's disbursement of $3,000 to Union County Community Action, Inc. Item G under item 2 is financial reports for April 2016. And as a summary, the total fund balance is $27 million change as of April 30th of this year. The unassigned general fund balance is $7.3 million for the same period. Item 2H, summary of contracts awarded, change orders approved, and city manager settlement claims. There were no claims settled during this period. The number of contracts awarded totaled 20, and they total approximately $334,000. Item 3, there are 2 sets of budget amendments. The first of which is for the purpose of accepting from Walmart a $2,500 donation to the police department to be used for Great Camp and True Blue Christmas. The second is for the purpose of accepting the North Carolina Governor's Crime Commission grant in the amount of $21,040 to be used for body-worn cameras by the police department. Item 4 is for the purpose of approving Tucker administrators to administer the 2016-17 health cafeteria plans. They are our current administrators. Item 5 concerns, is for the purpose of approving a budget ordinance in the amount of $600,000 capital project for the Science Center. Item 6 is for the purpose of awarding the sanitary sewer main inspection and repair project contract to IPR Southeast in the amount of $299,342.79. There were 3 responsive bids that were received of a possible 6. The project includes inspection of 27,000 linear feet of sanitary sewer and repair of 6,400 linear feet of sewer main. Item 7 is for the purpose of approving tax releases for April, which total $432.64, which includes changes or reductions in value or for releases of tax bills below the $5 minimum tax bill. Mayor and City Council, that concludes the summary of items placed on the consent agenda.
Okay, any questions on the consent agenda for council? Here none, I have a motion.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Here none, the consent agenda is passed. Item 8, ordinance adopting the fiscal year 2016-2017 fee schedule.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. The 2017 fee schedule has been submitted for your consideration as part of your budget document. At the last strategic meeting, we had begun discussion to demonstrate exactly all that's included in that fee schedule. I do have a slideshow presentation to walk through all the different aspects of it with you. Didn't know if you wanted to continue where we left off the other night and just go on and get the rest of the gist of what's in there.
What is the council's wishes?
I think we know what's in it. I don't think we need to.
Yeah, we know what's in it.
So,
You're good with all the
unless
changes
somebody
that were
does,
in the
I mean,
proposed document?
Yes,
Do what? Do what, please? What was it?
I said, I don't know that we need to go back through that. We've already been through it.
And you, what was you, you're out here
I'm
with?
good with that. I'm comfortable with.
Any other comment?
Few changes.
No, you went through part of it you didn't. Is it a lot of other changes in that we haven't seen?
No, where I left off was, That was the slide that we had gone over. Electric, we just talked about a few changes. Some of the Parks and Rec changes, this is a more detailed list of the different types of changes that were included in the proposal. Oh, it's keeping on going. Go back. We're just doing some various fee adjustments to the golf course fees, allowing us to remain competitive. We're actually reducing some cart fees and increasing some green fees. We're changing some of the tournament fees to delete the self-manage option, add a nonprofit charity category, and reduce the number of players for a shotgun from 80 to 60. A little increase in the driving range token fees to offset the cost of ball replacements. An increase in nonprofit rental fees off the regular rental rate. Want to change it to 50% off. It's currently $200, just a flat fee. We want to add a rental fee at the country club for using the crystal china and flatware, and that's purely to offset the cost of replacement of those items when they become broken or damaged. And the last two items, when we compared our programs to other area departments, these were proposals that would bring us in line and generate participation in those areas for adults and for the All-Star Camp for the youth.
So we are in line with the other.
With these changes, there were some good things that we could do. These were just specifics if anybody had questions on the golf course. The next change was in planning and zoning. It's just elimination of a fee that we no longer use. And the last one is the 2% increase for water and sewer, but in addition to that, we have the increases for administrative and non-construction fees of 1.9%. This is based on the Consumer Price Index by the U.S. Bureau of Labor. And we also have a nominal increase in the fishing fee from $1.50 to $2, and this is to offset the cost of the dock repair and the lake inspector contract increases. This is the first increase we've had since 2008. And that was all I had on the fee schedule changes.
Any questions? Hearing none. Thank you very much. Item 9, fiscal year 2016-2017 budget fiscal year. This is a public hearing.
Mayor,
Yes?
is council going to adopt item 8, or because you have before you an ordinance to adopt the fiscal year fee schedule?
Okay. We do adopt that separately. Okay. Okay.
You can, yes.
All right. Do I have a motion on these?
I move that we adopt the ordinance.
All right. Have a motion.
Second.
Have a motion. Second. All in favor? Aye. That's adopted. So we'll move to 9. Fiscal year 2016 public hearing.
Okay, this is my item as well. I do have a presentation in regard to the budget summary. As you know, the budget provides a basis for all of our fiscal policy decisions during the year, and we've met with council concerning planning sessions and outlined different elements of the budget during 4 different work sessions. The manager's budget was proposed or provided to council on April 29th, and on May 3rd, the budget message was presented to city council at a regular city council meeting.
See, Tony. And then make a motion to table.
Oh.
The budget for 2017 is a total of $161,953,789 across all of the funds. This is a 3.7% increase over 2016, and the general fund portion of that is just over $34.7 million at a 5% increase over 2016. little laptop's a little temperamental. The budget is a balanced budget, and it does maintain the property tax rate at 58.63 cents per $100 of valuation, and a downtown district rate of 21.9 cents per $100 of valuation. As discussed, the only adjustment to the utility rates was a 2% increase in the water and sewer rates. Personnel changes that are included are implementation of phase 1 of 3 of the city's pay plan adjustments. We've added new positions as detailed on the slide. We've got 4 full-time, 2 part-time, and a seasonal. We've reclassified 2 positions from part-time to full-time. We've included equipment replacements totaling $3.9 million across all funds. The general fund had just over $2.2 million of that amount. And we've also included capital projects totaling $9.476 million. Of that amount, $2.2 million was in the general fund. We've provided this, and staff is seeking council approval of the fiscal year 2017 budget resolution and ordinance.
Any questions of Lisa?
Yes, Lisa. Yes. I know that we've got one part-time position that's going to a full-time position that the general fund is picking up. How much is that costing us? Costing the general fund?
Are you looking at
The assistant
city attorney? Let me get my
It's approximately $30,700.
Thank you.
30,000. So it's going from how much to how much?
I'm sorry, the increase is 30,000.
When you add benefits, what is after?
I'll have to provide that information. I just have the amount of the increase year over year.
Okay, so do you know what it is now? It's going up 30,700. So do we know what it is now for part-time?
Not offhand.
Okay.
And Councilmember Jordan, I don't have that number offhand. We do have a submission that we provided, and I'm trying to hunt that down so we can get you an answer.
The community development coordinator, what's going to be the cost of that person? What will they be paid annually?
Let me see if I have some other slides on this. This was the slide that we had at the workshop. It has all the costs, yeah. $30,705 for the assistant city attorney, and the community development coordinator is $75,000. It's almost $76,000.
But we were not able to add anybody in code enforcement?
No.
We got one building inspector.
Yes. And that's offset by some of the increased building permit fee revenue that we're seeing because of the increased activity.
Are we giving the community development coordinator a budget to work with?
Yes.
How much of a budget is he gonna have to work with?
I believe it's 150,000.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say too.
I'll just call you tomorrow sometime and find out what the assistant city attorney is making now and see what that.
It's 47,000.
Yeah, it was 150,000 for the housing rehabilitation loan program.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll look up that information, have it ready when you call.
Okay, so it'll be that total figure plus, what do you figure, 30% for their fringe and benefits?
The benefits are included in that salary number that we displayed. There are some additional costs, to get them set up in their office that weren't listed there.
So if it goes to $70,000, there's not a percentage that's added on to the $70,000 to take care of their insurance and all of that?
No, that's included in that number.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So what would their salary end up being then? If we back out the fringe, what would their annual salary end up being? I'll call you tomorrow, Lisa. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I'll call you tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't have that breakdown.
Okay. Because I was thinking it was going to go up to roughly $75,000 plus fringe and benefits. But with the community development coordinator now, does that include fringe and benefits as well, or is that just a $75,000 base salary?
Those all include the benefits.
Okay, so what do we figure the benefits are? Do we figure 30%, 35%?
Yeah, about 25 to 30.
30%. Okay.
Now, see, we're gonna pay a retail development specialty 82,000.
Yeah, that's the one where we are getting some of the reimbursement to offset the cost of that position from the other cities that are participating with that economic development incentive program.
So we're getting some reimbursement from other cities. Approximately how much reimbursement are we getting to help cover the $82,000?
Gosh, you're really testing my recall tonight.
Well, I mean,
I do have it in the book here, though. Let me look that up.
I'll ask you that tomorrow as well, Lisa. That's fine.
Yeah, I believe it was 50,000 from,
Okay, so actually,
or 20, yeah, I don't want to say and be wrong.
Okay, I'll
Somebody
ask.
told me 50,000, was it from
Yeah,
Indian
from
Trail?
Indian Trail, and then there's two other smaller amounts from Wax On somewhere else.
Yeah, I was told that, but I didn't want to say that because I wasn't sure that you said that, so.
In Marshville, we're splitting about a $10,000 contribution. The balance is going to Indian Trail. And then
So this is
Waxahaw's doing an in-kind contribution.
So this is a countywide retail specialist?
That's correct.
Yes, well, in the areas that are participating. If there's a city that's not participating, I would imagine they.
In fact, even
Probably
Waxhaw
will
participated.
Yeah.
So we'll give it 32,000. All right.
Anything else, Mr. Jordan?
Nothing.
Anyone else have any questions? Thank you, Ms. Lisa. Very good.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing. This time I have one signed up, Mr. Keith Ollie.
My name's Keith Hall. I live at 701 Lancaster Avenue in Monroe. I would like to preface my statement by saying that I'm not really against the budget. I'm not really against downtown improvement. However, I am concerned that we're setting aside, and the mayor and I already talked about it a little bit beforehand, $3 million that we could really use for other needs in this city. And I listened to the strategy meeting, and I listened to both you and Mr. Keziah, and the fact that we want to spur this on. But I guess the best example I can think of, if you look at downtown Charlotte where they build the new big buildings and all that stuff, or you build a new shopping center, generally speaking, you have people committed, at least some people committed, before you actually started to throw bucks into the thing. Committed like businesses saying, yeah, I'd be interested in moving in and stuff. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I'd like all of you to think about the fact that we're tying up $3 million of taxpayer dollars for several years. I couldn't get out of the strategy meeting really what period of time we were talking about. And I understand it's an incentive or leverage to help get grants and loans and stuff like that. But we have so many things in this town that we need to fix that $3 million could really do something with. And I just think we're maybe putting the cart before the horse. We put this $3 million in escrow, or however you talk about it. It's tied up. And we really don't have that much in this project of commitments as far as the development company goes, as far as people putting other money in, as far as grants. I think we need to really turn this around. Use this $3 million for projects, the firehouse, the police department, that kind of stuff that we really have been talking about that we need. And kind of like what went on at the commissioner meeting last night, we need to talk about what we really want, what we really need as commitments. We've already made a commitment by buying the building and the building next door, so we've already got money in it. But I think before we tie up money like that can really help the city with other projects that we've got, I listened to all the things you were talking about in the budget, and we had to throw some things out and that. Maybe we need to go out there with the development company and see if we can get some commitments from people, businesses and stuff, and say, yeah, I would come in, so that there will be some nightlife around the Center Theater before we just tie this money up for stuff that we could use it for. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Mr. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? Hearing none, we'll close the public. Anyone who'd like to speak and against, of course, we had that, but I got to do both of them, for and against. Okay. Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing.
Mayor.
Yes.
I'd like to move that we postpone the vote to the first meeting in June when all council members are here.
Second. Postpone it to the next council.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Have a motion? Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Mayor, I think it's not clear who was for and against.
Raise your hand for all for postponing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that correct? You get that, Brady?
Yes, sir.
5 and 1. Okay, 5 and 1. Okay, so we'll vote it when full council's here. And what date would that be?
2nd of June.
June 7th. Okay. We'll vote on the budget June 7th then, and maybe. Okay, item 10, cops hiring program grant application for grants. Chief.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Mayor and Council. The Department of Justice has opened up a hiring or rehiring of police officers for up to 75% of the officer's salary, entry-level salary. We can get 4 officers, so we're requesting permission to seek this application and start the process. To summarize our report, that's just where we're at. We're in the beginning stages. This just came out from the Department of Justice, and we have the opportunity to apply, but we want to get your permission first before we apply, before we even start the process.
Move we approve the ability to apply.
I have a motion to approve the grant. As a second? Second. Any questions, comments to the chief?
Of course, is it time sensitive?
Yes, ma'am. We just came out, but it'd be very competitive as well, so we wanted to move on as quick as we could with it.
And you can get 4 under the grant?
Yes, sir. We can get 4 and pay 75% of their salary and benefits for the first 3 years.
Very good. Any other questions from the council?
Just a question. So apparently these are officers that we need.
Yes, sir.
Suppose we don't get the grant, we don't need officers anymore?
I don't understand your question. Like,
My question is, if the officers are needed and the grant is not approved, does that mean that the 4 officers are not added, which would indicate that they're not needed?
No, sir, we would, that's why I want to get your permission first.
I understand, but we need the 4 officers.
Yes, sir.
We're going to apply for grant.
Yes, sir.
Suppose the grant, we're not successful with the grant.
We would still need the officers. I asked for some this year. It's just a financing mechanism. This would help reduce the burden to everyone, to the taxpayers. And
Okay, and that's fine if we can get them.
Yes, sir.
You know, that's, if we can get them with a grant.
Yes, sir.
That's always a good way to get them.
Yes, sir.
But I just want the public to understand that we need the 4 officers.
Yes, sir.
Even if we don't get the grant, the 4 officers are needed.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other questions? I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, the pass. Thank you, Chief. Item 11, public comment period. Anyone here who would like to address the council? If you come forward, please.
Again, my name is Keith Oliver, 701 Lancaster Avenue. I'd like to preface my statement with I privately talked to Mr. Anderson and Mayor Kilgore, but I'd like, in front of the public and the rest of the council, to thank them last night for their support of the fire issue and the county commissioners. I thought they both had a big impact on what was going on. And even though I can feel for the commissioners and where we are and the system's broken, I think we've set, with them putting aside the vote last night and staying the way we were, it's going to give us a chance to get the county fire system, tax system fixed to where everybody's paying equal and everybody's paying their share. The one other thing that I wanted to say was, and I didn't really bring it up in the public hearing, but I personally feel, and I know she's not here tonight, but I personally feel, since one of the positions that we're discussing is a relative of the Mayor Pro Tem, that she should recuse herself on the vote of the budget next week. She's effectively voting on her daughter's salary and her daughter's position. And I wanted the rest of the council to hear, and I will stand up at the next meeting and say the same thing when she's here. I just don't think it doesn't look good. Whether it's right or wrong, it doesn't look good, and I think she should do that. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Mr. Todd.
Mayor and council, I would just point out that if I'm asked for an opinion, the opinion I would give is that the Mayor Pro Tem would be obliged to vote in accordance with 168-75 because it is not a financial impact to her. The fact that it's a family member is irrelevant, especially considering the family member is not a child, it is an adult. And so I would note that in that particular case, the Mayor Pro Tem would be obliged to vote.
And along with that, Mayor, and I can understand what the city attorney is saying, but one of the big issues that Councilman Kazai and Councilman Gordon paid $50,000 for to a Charlotte consulting firm was to take a look at our nepotism policy. And our nepotism policy states that, in essence, that it's all right to have a city employee that works for the city as long as they're not supervised by someone who is one of their relatives. Our legal department is supervised by the city council. So I would beg to differ in regard to whether or not it violates our nepotism policy for the city council to supervise an employee that we're going to give a permanent job to.
Respectfully, Councilmember Jordan, I would disagree because the member of the city attorney's office that supervises me, you do not supervise the assistant city attorney, just as you do not supervise. You have 3 employees, manager, myself, and the clerk. You do not supervise the deputy clerk either. You do not supervise the assistant city manager. And I would note that for purposes of nepotism policy, that position would not fall under the nepotism policy. I wanted to note that since you asked that on the record, so I want to make sure that's on the record. I'll be happy to provide council with a fuller memorandum discussing that if that is council's desire for the next meeting.
It's not council's desire, but just for the record, city council is going are your direct supervisors, and I would imagine that the city council is going to always be sensitive to those individuals that you're directly responsible to with regard to your supervisor. I just wanted to make the statement.
I appreciate that, sir, and what I would just note is that the obligations under state law trump your nepotism policy, and even if the nepotism policy applied, which it would not in this case, 168-75 would take precedence.
Okay, I don't have a problem with it, but again, you know, I just think that the public needs to understand who the city council directly supervises and what individuals, you know, are part of that department.
For the record, since you brought this up, I've gotten about 18 calls over the past year, and I think I discussed that with you one time already, about the nepotism policy. We got a lot of negative press several years ago about nepotism, and it's confusing to the public. It would be a good idea for the public to know why it is not nepotism, because the question is swirling around out there.
I would say that in looking at your nepotism policy that was revised by the council in response to the report that Councilmember Jordan has referred to, the report completed by Parker Poe, it talked about direct supervision. And it also talked about the hiring of employees, but in that particular case, my recollection is the policy grandfathers in existing employees. With respect to nepotism issue, perhaps the hiring of employees would be different at that point in time. However, all employees in place were grandfathered. And in this particular issue, this again is not an employee that is supervised by the council. As I mentioned, you have 3 employees, myself, the manager, and the clerk. And even though the assistant city attorney works directly for me and is supervised by me, that employee is considered a employee that is technically in the purview of the manager in a lot of ways, because that's how you, under your charter provisions, all other employees that are not the 3 that are specifically named are not employees. But under the nepotism policy, you're absolutely correct. There are issues over that, but even if the nepotism policy were today to prevent the hiring of somebody, if they were in place before the changes in the policy, the decision made by that council was to not alter that particular issue. But obviously supervision by a family member is an important concern, but you also do not have that with this particular employee. But I'm happy to discuss these issues with council privately as well. We're also talking about this because the question is being raised to the public, and by the fact that we have the 2 cameras in the room, members of the public can, of course, see what we're saying on that, and so I want to make sure we answer the questions as well.
Any other question or comment?
I would, just simply because some comments have been made. I think it's important for the public to note a couple things. First of all, I think that our assistant city attorney does an outstanding job, and I think she's a true asset to our city. And I'd like to thank her for the job that she does, as well as the job that our city attorney does. In addition, and I thought about this long and hard before I brought it up, but I think since some comments have been made that it needs to be said, and it needs to be said on record for the public. Mr. Jordan had several questions for our finance director and several questions here at the end of the meeting. All of those questions could have been answered for him in the 4 budget meetings that he chose not to attend. And I think it's important to say that for the record. We had 4 budget meetings that this council attended. One was an all-day meeting on a Saturday. And his direct comment about that Saturday meeting was, and I quote, "I choose not to attend." So I think it's important to say that for the record. We are elected officials, and we are supposed to be here to do the right thing for the public. The city budget is that's where the tax dollars are, and I think that those are some of the most important meetings to attend. And again, we did have 4 meetings on the budget prior to tonight, and I feel like that statement needed to be made. Thank you.
Mayor, as long as we're making statements, I did choose not to attend your all-day meeting, Gary. And the reason I chose not to attend it, because for several years, I have put forth what I consider to be priorities for the majority of the citizens of Monroe. And every year, those priorities get ignored in lieu of trying to protect spending that is done with sacred cows by the city of Monroe. I think that Keith Olive at the spot went up a month. So we have choices. I attend all of the city council meetings where I am supposed to vote, and I am not required by state statute or anything else to attend meetings where I don't feel like my input is going to be of value. So I say to the public, I did not attend that all-day meeting, and I did not attend that all-day meeting because my thoughts and my opinions were not of value, and I am not going to waste my time watching other people's priorities continue to be approved and set forth when I don't think they represent the best interests of the majority of the citizens of Monroe.
And with that said, and I respect that, but that was one meeting on a Saturday. You also did not attend the other 3 budget meetings. We're talking about 4 budget meetings that you did not attend.
And I decided not to attend every one of those budget meetings for the same reason. In the past, I've always attended all budget meetings. I've always gone out of town to conferences. I've always gone out of town to out-of-town strategic planning meetings. So just because you come along and you feel like you know everything, don't mistake yourself and think that Billy Jordan has not been a participant. I've earned the right to be here. I'm not a pacifist. I know what's in the budget, and I know what is not in the budget. And I'm going to continue to support those issues and bring forth those issues that I think are important. So don't think that just because you attend a meeting that you know more about a budget than I do. I was one of the people that helped to put the policy in place that got us to that $28 million that everybody walks around here and pats themselves on the back about. Lynn knows that. I'm one of the people that put the policy in place where we have the 25% of our budget that is set aside for a rainy day. I'm one of the people that put that in place. And I'm one of the people that continues to monitor that. I'm one of the people that helped us get to the point where we can put the $3 million aside for the Center Theater. You weren't a part of that, Gary. Now you came here and you're riding a fast horse that's getting you across the finish line. But you weren't there to give it the hay and the water to get it on the track. So don't think that just because you can sit here and talk about me not attending some particular meeting that I have not been a part and continue to be a part of what is going on this city council. Now, if you want to talk about people not attending meetings, we can go into that. You want to talk about people not attending meetings? You want to talk about me not being able to have a finance committee meeting for 6 months out of last year because council members would not show up? You want to talk?
I wouldn't.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You weren't here last year, but all of a sudden, you're supposed to know what meetings are about. No, don't come here with that. You're talking to the wrong person.
Yes, sir. I know what meetings.
No.
We had 4 budget meetings this year that you did not attend.
Absolutely right.
The questions you asked to Lisa tonight had already been answered in those budget meetings. So you claim that you know about the budget. Why did you have to ask her questions?
Because they were questions that I wanted. I could call Lisa and ask. I could call Lisa and ask Lisa any question I wanted.
Wait a minute.
No, don't do that to me. I am not Teresa, so don't you do that to me. You ask a question or make comments, and I'm gonna answer your comments. I can call Lisa up and ask Lisa anything that I want to because I know the budget. The reason I asked the questions I asked tonight, not only to Lisa, but to our city attorney, because I want the public, where this campus, I want the public to know that I know what's going on. I want the public to know that your perception of what's happening in City Hall is absolutely correct. So we're going to continue to work on this. But if I don't think that my input is of value, then I'm not going to waste my time attending your meetings. But anytime I've got a question for Lisa that I want the public to be aware of, and I will ask her that question. If I've got something that I want her to know about that's for my information, I'll pick up the phone and I'll call her. The questions I asked tonight was so that the public would know what my concerns were. See, that's what you don't understand, Gary, and you'll never know it. Because, you see, I've earned my right to be here. It wasn't just a baton that was passed to me.
I don't have anything else to say.
Okay. Earlier, Mr. Olive had brought up last night at the commission meeting about the 4.5 proposed countywide fire tax, and he made some comments. I also want to thank Teresa and Robert for being there last night. They were there, and Robert spoke, and we appreciate y'all being up there and speaking on behalf. I don't know what turned the tide, but I'm sure something you said, something maybe everybody said that put it all together and got it right. But anyway, it's always good to have the public come out like that and participate. So thank y'all for being there very much. Okay. That concludes. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I have a motion to have a second. All in favor? We adjourn.